Good evening, wrestling fans. Welcome to Evolution of Pro Wrestling. I'm your host, Lewis, the Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling.
And I'm Jay, the Whiz Kid of Pro Wrestling.
Ooh, always a great introduction. Oh, man. Welcome back, wrestling fans. We got another exciting episode tonight. Some should say that it's going to be a little bit controversial.
Definitely.
We should say. Tonight's topic, we actually got a two-part series. We are doing the top 50 deceased superstars of all time, in our opinion, the ones we picked. This is going to be strictly wrestling, okay?
Only wrestling.
We are talking about these men. These men did a lot in professional wrestling. Many superstars that died at a young age still did things in professional wrestling. I'm not worried about their personal life. That's not our business.
Right.
We're here to talk wrestling. We're here to talk the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Right.
But there is one exception that we will bring in personal, which we're gonna have as our first guest. James Sarge, how you doing, brother? Welcome. This is our first part of the series of 50 greatest late wrestlers of all time. Now, Jaden, when you talk about greatest, what comes to mind?
Greatest, someone who makes it to the top, somebody who's striving for that number one place, that's the greatest. It doesn't matter if you're not the best in the world. It doesn't matter if you don't have as many coins or championships in the world. It matters about, giving it your hardest, always putting smiles on people's faces and always giving it your all. That's what I consider greatest. That's what comes to mind when I first think about greatest. Giving it your all.
Well, believe me, many of these men have given it their all when they've been in professional wrestling. It's something that not too many people can do.
Definitely not.
And yes, that's also someone who is the greatest. Someone who can carry a company without a title. And there's many superstars on this list that have done so.
And I also agree with what you say. It's not easy to be the greatest, but there is one thing I can say with that, though. It's easy to fail, but it's a challenge to be the greatest.
Of course.
And of course, you're gonna fail along the way, but the more you fail, the greater you get. The more mistakes you gotta learn from.
Yeah.
And the more mistakes you learn from, the greater you get.
Exactly.
And that's why we picked these guys here, because all these guys, everybody was at a point in their life where they weren't so good.
Exactly.
But these wrestlers right here made it to the top.
Hey, we got Justin, our cousin Justin.
What's up, Justin?
What's going on, Mr. Ball Player, Mr. Yankee?
Even with or without a title, these guys right here are
they signified the business.
Absolutely.
In one way, shape, or form, they signified the business.
100%.
And with this first superstar that I'm putting in this list, and I'm putting him on this list for one specific reason, and I'm doing it as a father. Shad Gaspard. He was part of Crime Time, the tag team Crime Time. He is our number 50 on the list. He did a lot of things as Crime Time in this business. He made a hell of a killing. He made comedy. He spray painted. He made money. It was fun. It was awesome. We enjoyed his antics in the ring until he turned heel. He turned against his partner, but they needed a new direction for him. But unfortunately, he didn't find it. WWE released him. He tried to. He had great charisma. The man was a built guy. He was a former bodyguard, a bouncer, But unfortunately, his life was tragically taken due to saving his son and drown. That's why he's one of the greatest. As a father, you put yourself in harm's way for your kid. And that's one of the main reasons he made this list.
Definitely.
This is the only exception I mentioned personal without someone getting offended.
That's because he deserves that, though. He actually tried doing something positive for somebody.
And he did. He saved his son so his son can have a life.
Exactly.
And that's what we respect more than anything. Yeah. Especially myself as a father.
Definitely.
We go to number 49. This man is one of the greatest Latino wrestlers of all time. This man was the first Latino to ever win all 3 titles in professional wrestling. And yes, Brian said he should have forgotten he should have gotten the Warrior Award.
I agree. He should have gotten the Warrior Award. I feel like he definitely deserves the Warrior Award.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, to this day, I think he should still get it.
Me too.
You know what I mean? And it's just a matter of time before he does. But the number 49 is none other than WWE Hall of Famer, the late Pedro Morales. Pedro Morales is the first ever Puerto Rican to win every major title in the WWF back then. Intercontinental, Tag Team, and World Heavyweight title. Because that's the only 3 titles they had in professional wrestling in WWE back then.
Right.
Now, Jaden, as a Latino, how do you feel about hearing about something like that?
I mean, for us Latinos, that's pretty great because, if you're not in that company's, certain genre, and if you're like, a different nationality than what people expect, you're gonna be an underdog. You're gonna be.
Excuse me, I am peanuts. I'm sorry.
You're gonna be an underdog. So for a Latino to do that, to be a Hall of Famer and to become a title holder, that's a lot for our generation. That's a lot for our heritage because that's making it big. Of course, it's not just wrestling, but since this is a wrestling topic, he is one of the guys that helped
He paved the way for guys like Alberto Del Rio.
Exactly, guys like that.
And other Spanish superstars, Andrade and Selena Vega, stuff like that. And he said Pedro would have been a top star without Bruno. Of course. Listen, Pedro Morales was a great mat technician.
I got 2 drinks.
He was a great mat technician. He did what he needed to do, and that's what he did. And Vince McMahon Sr. saw money in Pedro Morales.
Right.
And Pedro Morales paved the way for many other great superstars.
Absolutely.
But and that's another thing. When you talk about other superstars, he pretty much fought guys like our next superstar, number 48, which is Nikolai Volkov. Nikolai Volkov was one of the best heels of all time. All time.
Definitely.
And it amazed me when I used to see him coming in the ring with Iron Sheik, and they would go, he would have, I'm no disrespect, I'm not making fun of the Russian national anthem, but that's how he was with that voice. But he backed it up in the ring as well. Yep, the man could wrestle. Exactly, the man could wrestle in the ring. So he got that down, but he made a statement with that song, and then he
proved it in the ring.
He was one of the best heels of all time. I love the way with him and Iron Sheik, it was classic.
Their characters fit. Their characters fit each other.
Do you think that will go now?
With that anthem or
that anthem?
Nah. Too much controversy. There'll be too much complaining. Oh, we're in America, blah 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 blah. Nah, that wouldn't slide.
No, this is why I said it's gonna be controversial on this one.
That would not slide. I would have liked to see that happen because that would have been cool. I really hope they could bring something like that back. Like when people from their nationalities, sing their anthems, come out that way.
Well, it's unfortunate that everything is all politically correct now. You gotta open up the doors to new horizons. Maybe sometimes the old school stuff might need to come back. You know what I mean?
Even if that means controversy, even if other people.
Sometimes you need that little controversy. This is what we need to do. And
it's just a leap of faith.
No, but that's what I'm saying. And when you talk about controversy, the number 47 on the pick. Okay, you said I think I'll know who is number 1, but I'll wait.
I want to see if he's right or not. Number 1 is really interesting.
Yes, really, number 1 is definitely interesting. Number 47, this man was very controversial. And I say that because he always wanted to count to 5. He would tell the referee, count to 5. none other than King Kong Bundy.
He really did that?
Yes.
Wow.
Each time.
Did not know that.
He wanted the referee to count to 5. That
so
man,
not
listen,
3, 5.
the battle he had with Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 2
was great.
Like, Hulk Hogan admitted it. Like, this man hits hard. Like, it's like getting hit by King Kong.
King Kong
himself.
is a big. I mean, he is a big guy. I mean, look, they don't call him King Kong Bundy for nothing.
Yep, great wrestling school. Exactly.
He was fast too for his size.
The man was big. Yeah, listen,
move.
he was a draw. He was a draw in professional wrestling. He did a lot for the business. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Main eventing, he was a powerhouse. He was definitely a powerhouse. And when he fought the likes of Andre the Giant and he fought Hulk Hogan, that's what you like back then. The rivalry with King Kong Bundy and John Studd against Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. Like, you lived to see that stuff back then.
Right.
And I used to love it in Saturday Night's Main Event. So when you mention him, he had to be on this list. You know what I mean? He set the bar for many, many people.
A lot.
And he set the bar for many villains that he definitely did well in the Heenan family, which we're going to be mentioning that also later on in the show. The next one, number 46, was a little bit tragic, unfortunately. It was a shocker for everybody that it came out of nowhere. Yes, I remember Bundy versus the Midgets at WrestleMania 3. He squashed them. He was like,
oh my!
The little midget was shaking on the floor.
Oh god!
Because he splashed it. Exactly. Because he splashed him so bad. Midget. I'm like, good Lord Almighty! I said, this midget is dead.
Yeah, that was it.
I'm like, but this one, number 46, was it wasn't. It was shocking. Brody Lee, better known as Luke Harper in the WWE.
I had to make sure the name was right.
Brody Lee was a very shocking loss to professional wrestling. Brody Lee had great charisma. He was a great superstar in the ring. He had the moves. As a tall, big guy like that, he was able to move.
He gave me, I'm not saying, like character-wise, but he gave me Undertaker vibes. And I say that because Undertaker was a big guy and he was able to move.
That gimmick in Brody Lee was amazing.
Absolutely.
Also, when he was part of the Wyatt family, also it was amazing.
He was a good bludgeon brother too.
Of course,
him and,
but they pretty much
Harper,
that one was deep, man. He
yeah, I enjoyed his work too. Definitely, I genuinely enjoyed his work too.
It was he did great. He did great in the wrestling business.
I couldn't believe it when I seen it. I couldn't believe it.
You know what I mean?
Definitely
but yes, he deserved to be on this list because you know why? Regardless of the fact, no matter what gimmick this man had, he fulfilled it to the end.
He always sold it. He always did good.
He sold it
always.
To the end.
When he was
no
a bludgeon
matter
brother,
what.
When he went to AEW,
and that's what made him so special in professional wrestling. Hey, Felix, what's going on, brother? Welcome, saludo.
You know what? I also feel like that's where the Wyatts was where it all started. I feel like, honestly speaking,
you guys are in Vegas. Our family's in Vegas.
Lucky.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll see him soon.
Y'all could disagree with me on this. Y'all could agree. I feel like the Wyatt family would have not been the same without Brody Lee.
No.
Without Brody Lee, the Wyatts would not be the same. I absolutely
agree with that.
It would have been so strange without him there.
He was one of the founding members.
Definitely.
It's like, come on. And look at it. These guys are SummerSlam bound. We got a whole bunch of guests here. My cousin Joel, my boy Felix, my cousin
we got my family.
Manuel. We got our family looking on. They're going to be at SummerSlam tomorrow.
That's what's
they
up.
will be present watching Roman Reigns and John Cena. Which reminds me, we got to come up with our predictions for WrestleMania towards the end of the show. Thank you guys. We miss you guys too, man. See you soon for Christmas.
Yeah,
we're going to have a ball, man. We're going to have a ball. My family's coming. But back to our topic at hand. So, Jaden, again, Brody Lee was tragic, but the man could do it up in any gimmick he can do.
Definitely.
So, which brings us to the next gentleman on this list. He is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best African-American superstars I've ever seen. And Yes, I believe so, Joel. I think he is returning
To where?
today to AEW to wrestling.
Oh, WWE's in trouble.
We have Rocky Johnson.
Okay, before we finish, I just gotta say these are really good.
We got some
If
snacks.
y'all keep seeing me chew,
We got some snacks.
good.
But before we continue, fans, please feel free to share our content all over social media. Bring your friends, your family, your cousins. As you can see, we got family up here. Bring everybody in. Share our content. Let's talk wrestling. Jaden, Rocky Johnson was one of the best African American superstars of all time in WWE.
definitely.
The father of The Rock. Back then, who was Dwayne Johnson.
I'm about to say,
Rocky Maivia. Rocky
I'm
Maivia.
about to say I had to.
But The Rock was one of the first, actually the first African American tag team champion.
Like Dwayne Johnson, Rock?
No,
or-
the Rock. Like Rocky Johnson.
Okay, alright.
He teamed up with Tony Atlas and they became the tag team champions.
That's right, yeah.
Now, in this particular situation, Jay, Rocky Johnson, do you think if he would have still been alive and still would have been in this type of era, would he been able to deal with the likes of superstars from today?
Definitely.
Like, name one in particular. Of course, Rocky Johnson paved the way. For many superstars.
Me, personally, Roman Reigns. Honestly. I feel like he could have
Wow.
dealt with the likes of Roman Reigns.
That wouldn't be a bad battle.
He could have dealt with the likes of Bobby Lashley. People like that.
I would have paid to see Bobby Lashley. The Rock Johnson, hell yeah, that would have been amazing with Bobby
Definitely.
Lashley.
Oh yeah,
Like off the chain, And when you talk about off the chain, we got our next pick, number 44, who was definitely off the chain. This man was crazy, strong. A member of the former tag team champions, the Hart Foundation, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Holy cow.
right.
Like,
Old school Rocky.
oh, versus The
Johnson's
Rock himself. That would be amazing.
What is that, like father and
Son.
That would
Father
be
and
crazy.
son. That would be crazy. I'm sorry. I'm gonna take a peanut here. But yes, that would definitely be a hell of a match.
Definitely.
And Alvin, we're gonna get to that. Don't worry. He's on this list. You just don't know which number he's on. Jim the Anvil Neidhart
Okay.
was with Bret the Hitman Hart for a certain amount of years as the Hart Foundation. They were great heels. Jim Neidhart was the crazy one out of the group because he was some shit like that with his chain, with his beard. He had a long beard that he go like that.
He had that Kratos beard.
But the character was amazing. The laugh was amazing. I had a blast watching these guys go at it. And when they finally turned face, it was amazing. They were winning they won the titles. They had the fans. Then unfortunately they split up. I'm not sure what happened. But
so like they just like split. Like it wasn't.
They just split.
Okay.
Bret Hart wanted to go singles career. Unfortunately, Jim Neidhart was not much.
They were brothers, right? Or
They were brother-in-law.
Okay, brother-in-law.
They were brother-in-laws.
Okay.
And unfortunately, Jim Neidhart passed away also due to certain complications. But in the ring, the man was amazing. Like, he was able to sell his gimmick. He was able to sell his wrestling. And he was a powerhouse.
There will never be another.
No,
Jim
never
Neidhart.
be a Jim Neidhart.
Never.
Absolutely not. And there will never be a Hart Foundation. Like without him, the Hart Foundation would have never existed.
It would have never. I agree.
No, and he definitely paved the way for his daughter. Natalia.
Oh, Natalia.
And Natalia's an excellent superstar. Excellent superstar.
I feel like they could be using her more better than they are now. Though, honestly, but other than that, she is a very great superstar. And she is filling her father's shoes, definitely.
And when you talk about female wrestlers, we talk about our number 43. We have, Brian says, pretty coincidental that you're speaking of him, and Natalia is walking down the ring as we speak.
Wow.
Yo, SmackDown, she's walking down the aisle now.
She's walking down the aisle as we speak.
That's crazy. Oh, man. But yeah. When you talk about a fabulous superstar,
wow,
we mentioned number 43, the Fabulous Mula.
Yes,
she was one of the greatest, if not the greatest, female superstar of all time.
Definitely
champion. She was champion for over 24 years.
That's a long time.
24 years.
Straight?
Straight. But wrestling was different back then.
Whoa.
It wasn't like now.
24 years.
Yes, Andre the Giant is on this list too, but where? He's definitely on this list.
Definitely on this list.
But when we talk about Fabulous Mula, she had taken on many great superstars, many great wrestlers, and she held the title for a long time. She lost it to Rockin' Robin, WrestleMania.
I mean, look how long she had a title reign for, though.
She
20 up years. 24 years. 20 and up. That's a long time.
Yeah.
And it's straight. It's not like nothing happened in between. That was straight 24 years.
And that's
a great wrestler right there.
Absolutely.
If you could carry a title for 24 years straight without losing that title, the battles you have to go through. And was wrestling an all year round thing like it is now?
Of course.
24 years.
365 days a year. They don't get no breaks.
24 years.
They may get one day off.
You know how
that's pushing it.
Do you know how crazy that is to carry a title like that? Fabulous Mula is truly, if not the best female superstar. The Mula. She's the best.
She is the Mula.
Yes.
You know, so not too many people would agree. You know, not too many people would agree that she is.
That's what I'm saying. Who does that? A champion for over 20 years? That's just unheard of.
Of course, it's unheard of. It's amazing. You know, you don't hear about.
You don't hear that every day.
You know, you hear wrestlers now in this generation. Oh, maybe carry the belt 6 months, whatever.
That's it.
You know, I'm surprised Roman Reigns has this long of a title.
Hey, look, I'm glad that he has that title. He's carrying it well, very, very well. He's carrying this title. Absolutely amazing.
And fans, before we continue, I'm gonna make a small announcement. At the end of the show, we're gonna be presenting you 2 more topics coming up because we want to give you some excitement coming up that the producer and director had just mentioned, and it's gonna be a good one. But let's continue. But Fabulous Mula was amazing. But when you talk about other female talent that she also took on, this young lady, this woman, was crazy. But she was an excellent villain in the ring. She is none other than Sherry Martell,
I feel like I've heard.
better known as Sensational Sherry. She managed the like of Ted DiBiase, Harlem Heat, Shawn Michaels, and the list goes on and on. She was one of the greatest managers of all time. She managed Macho King at the time.
Oh yeah,
that she was not. She managed Zeus and Macho King.
Oh yeah, Zeus. I still remember that match with Zeus versus Hulk Hogan.
Yes, Bobby Heenan and the Sheik, Ed Ferret. They are great heels.
She managed a lot of people.
Of course, she managed a lot of people, and she was able to take that character and run with it.
New heights, definitely.
I mean, she would fight like a man. Like she would come at you like a man. Like she would kick you in your stomach. Like she had rivalry with Hulk Hogan. She was managing Ric Flair, and Ric Flair and her were the perfect combination because the dirtiest player in the game against a manager like that.
That's a
power combo that you have right now.
Definitely.
So
that's a goated combo.
I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, she owned her character.
Of course,
definitely.
She definitely owned her character. She owned her character like I've never seen.
She made it believable, right? She really made it believable. Like, she sold the mess out of that. She
would even kick the referees. That she didn't care. She would hit the referees and throw the referees and like, oh my god! Like I used to love seeing her.
Listen, she actually sold.
I used to love seeing her manage Ric Flair. Like always, like between the combination with her and Ric Flair was amazing. I loved it.
The first time I seen her was when she was managing Zeus, and Zeus and Hulk Hogan had that cage match. That was the first time I've ever seen her.
Yes, and she was like, "Get him!"
Yes.
Get him!
Oh my god! Yes.
I'm like, oh my god! I was like, this lady's crazy, but I loved it. I loved it because of the gimmick. I didn't understand it then because I was young. Now that I look at it, I'm like,
I understand more.
Damn,
right.
like you understand more, and like, holy shit, like, wow. But she was amazing. She was definitely amazing. And this next superstar, not too many people are probably going to agree with this, but I do. And it was the reason because not only behind his gimmick. Yes, she did come up with the first Shawn Michaels. She sang Shawn Michaels' first song. She sang
that?
Yep.
No way.
Listen to the first song and you can hear that. I'm telling you, listen to it later.
She sang that?
Listen to it later.
I'm going to definitely do that.
The next superstar we're putting on this is, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Itchy
a little bit. Mosquito bite. Roman Reigns' brother, Rosie.
Roman Reigns had a brother?
Yes, Rosie Aona.
I've been hiding under a rock.
I
had no idea.
He unfortunately passed away due to certain complications, which we are not going to name. But he was an amazing superstar, wrestling superstar in the ring. Part of the tag team 3-Minute Warning. And he was also the sidekick of Hurricane Helms, and
oh yeah, this guy. All right, I remember.
And he was great for a big guy like that. He was able to
great,
move.
Definitely,
he was able to move.
3-Minute Warning, Rosie and Umaga.
Yes, and it was an amazing tag team. I wish they could have really did something with them.
Is Umaga on this list?
He is our actually our honorary listee. Yep.
Okay, because
he's in an honorary listee because
I can't forget about Umaga.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Now that he was mentioned with this, we could mention Umaga. Umaga was also a bulldozer. Like
I wish he was still here.
Like a real. I think he would have.
Umaga.
I think if he would have never passed away, he would have won the title. At some point, he would have came back.
Not even that. I feel like Umaga could have possibly, would have been a long shot. He could have possibly still been wrestling. If Umaga would have still been wrestling, that would have been the perfect thing to do with him and Roman Reigns.
Oh,
you could have made Roman Reigns' would have been Roman Reigns' bodyguard.
Oh man, that would have been
them two together. Oh my god,
that would have been lethal. It would have been so.
That would have been heel Roman Reigns now with Umaga at his side. That would be such a dream come true.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Especially Umaga, sister related too. It makes it better.
Listen, Umaga was one that he needed to get that push, but unfortunately he got released. Due to certain unfortunate circumstances. But yes, him versus Roman too. Present day.
That would be awesome.
That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
For those two to go at it with each other, two bulldogs. I'm like, man, I would have definitely paid to see that.
That's two titans going at it with each other.
No, man. And when you talk about Umaga, he had a good manager with him. I forget. I thought it was Armando. It was Estrada. Armando Estrada.
Oh yeah, that was the guy where John Cena.
Yes, we also do have Jody Hamilton on this list too, sir. But we're not gonna share it we're not gonna share where he's on this list. But he is on this list for sure.
Definitely.
He was managed by him, but I think a manager that could have really took him to the top, in my opinion, is the number 40 pick on this list, the devious one. Mr. Fuji.
You think who could have took that to Umaga?
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. And I say that because he's taken another superstar that is on this list that we're going to talk about next week's show. Jaden, Mr. Fuji. The man he's wrestled. He's managed. Remember, he was part of the tag team that I mentioned, him and Tori Tanaka. He also managed Magnificent Morocco, Demolition, Powers of Pain, Yokozuna.
A lot. Yokozuna was my favorite one.
From
all the ones I've seen,
it was
amazing.
But I loved him and Don Morocco. That was the best. Don
Morocco.
I think it was Fuji Vice. Fuji Vice. Yep, was a perfect combo with Yokozuna. Yes, he sure was.
A perfect combo.
That was definitely a perfect combo with Yokozuna, and Mr. Fuji knew what to do. He knew how to carry it. And
Yokozuna.
Mr.
Fuji
played
that character.
Fuji Vice with him and Morocco, it was amazing. I loved it. I loved those two. Morocco was a great heel. I hated him as a face. He was a great heel. I loved it.
Not all
with
people
him
are meant to be faces.
and Mr. Fuji. Oh man, it was amazing. It was
So
absolutely
I'm guessing
amazing.
Mr. Fuji was a heel
Yes,
manager.
he was a heel. He was
Those be
never
the best
face.
ones.
Yes,
I'm serious. The heel managers be the best ones.
No, he was good. He was a real good manager when it came to being devious. Yep, Mr. Fuji, mad respect. Exactly.
For sure.
The man was an excellent manager and an excellent wrestler in the ring. You know what I'm saying? And when you talk about wrestler, this man, I've never ever seen a big man move like this before. This man was fast, he was strong, and he didn't take no shit from anybody in the ring.
Definitely not.
I'm talking about the number 39 on the list, Vader. He was known as Big Van Vader in WCW. Vader took on many great superstars.
We're talking about the same guy that popped his eye back in
Yes.
place during a match, right?
against Stan Hansen
Okay.
in Japan.
Yes.
And then,
Whew.
not only that, the man took on people like Sting, Hulk Hogan, Giant Gonzalez. He's won numerous titles around the world. Ric Flair. Yeah, Vader. Oh my God.
Has he
Woo!
ever faced Undertaker?
He's faced The Undertaker in WWE. He's faced Stone Cold.
I would like to
Yokozuna.
see them two go at it at their primes. That would
Like
have been crazy.
it was great. The man did a moonsault off the top of the rope.
Oh, God.
Like, how do you do that as a big guy
He's
like that?
big. He was fast too.
He was very fast.
He moved like a lightweight. He really moved really fast.
Very, very fast. Like that
Do
man.
you think he could have kept? Do you think he could have kept up with the guys now? Guys like Shinsuke, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, speed
I
wise.
don't think any of these guys would have been able to take the strength of Big Van Vader.
Okay, strength, definitely not.
Because they would have been at
What about the speed though?
speed. Maybe he can keep up with them. But these guys, unfortunately, certain people now are too sensitive. You know what I mean?
When he gets pissed at the reporter with Taker.
Yeah.
He got mad for it.
There is a video that a reporter tried to downplay professional wrestling, and he grabbed the reporter by his shirt and was ready to kick his ass.
Like literally. Oh God.
Like, he was hardcore. He was a very hardcore individual. He didn't care.
Oh my.
He did not care. He loved the business. He loved professional wrestling, and he took it
he did a good
seriously.
job.
He
He did a
defended
great
it
job.
because he knew that it was his job.
Yeah, it's definitely changed though now.
Yeah, I remember that. He busted Kane open in the head and busted him open with a wrench.
A wrench.
A wrench.
A real wrench.
Yeah, a real wrench.
Oh.
Like, Vader back then had no filter whatsoever.
Dang, that must have been a hard hit. I know that had to hurt.
But that's what was good about it. He made it real. He made it real that people will know, okay, like, shit, I'm ready to battle. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And it's like, okay, what next with Vader?
Aren't they on this list, the Von Erichs?
No,
They're not.
Unfortunately, not.
No.
But we can definitely mention them. Because they were also very, very good in professional wrestling.
I agree.
They took WCCW to new heights. And when I mean new heights, like, it was a battle with the Von Erichs and the Freebirds.
Definitely.
And it was amazing. Like, the rivalry was amazing. Like, I loved it. I
agree.
loved the rivalry with the Von Erichs and the Freebirds. You know? But the Von Erichs unfortunately had some tragedy in their lives, which is, that's personal again. But they really, really owned their talent in the ring. Like, they knew what it was to sell it. Like, the girls loved them. The girls, like, threw themselves. They would throw themselves on the Von Erichs, like, oh my God. Like, they didn't know what to do. So, what was next? What they were going to do next?
Right.
But in this particular situation, the Von Erichs could have been bigger. But unfortunately, things happen in wrestling.
Of course.
But when you talk about things that happen in wrestling, yes, the Road Warriors are on this list.
I'm about to say that's the tag team you cannot forget.
They're definitely on this list.
I'm about to say,
when you talk about charisma, when you talk about talent, that was, oh my God, that this man could have been, I think by far bigger than Edge, bigger than Seth Rollins,
really,
possibly bigger than Roddy Piper. Like, this man was only 28 years old, but he was the greatest heel I've ever seen at that time. I'm talking about the flamboyant Geno Hernandez. Geno Hernandez was by far an excellent heel, an excellent champion, and it was a shame what happened, but the man was awesome. If there's anyone that could be out there that can tell me different, I would love to hear it.
He was a really great heel. I feel like, you know, if his tragedy never would have happened, he could have been something real big. He would have been something.
He was a younger version at that time, Ric Flair. I would have loved to see Geno Hernandez take on Ric Flair in their primes.
I see that similarity.
Oh my God, I would have loved to see that match. It would have been.
Geno will always give you something to talk about.
Exactly, because the, oh my God, yo, the promos this man had, he used to give. It was like so real that the fans really hated him.
And you know, that's the funny thing now. Now, I mean, you know, not to get off topic real quick, but that's the thing now. With these promos, they're trash now. Even if it's a good promo, they're nothing compared to what the
Yes, Joel. Yes, Joel Bruiser Brody is on this list too. Yes, he was born to wrestle. He was born to wrestle. That's what Geno did. That's what Geno loved.
I wish he would have lived longer.
He was amazing in the ring.
I wish he would have.
He was amazing in the ring, and it was tragic to lose him.
Yeah, very.
The next pick is actually an interesting pick, which many believe that he shouldn't be on this. Many people think he should. He's not a wrestler. He's not a manager. He's actually a ring announcer.
Oh, yeah.
None other than Howard Finkel.
I definitely believe he should be on that. He should definitely be on that.
Howard Finkel was the originator of WrestleMania. He came up with the idea, WrestleMania. And he was by far the greatest ring announcer of all time.
All time.
Like,
can't nobody do it like him.
He knew how to catch a crowd. Like, let's do it.
Can't nobody do it like the Finkel.
Like, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
It is time for the Royal Rumble match.
Yep, exactly. He had the voice.
He had it all, man.
And it was
the Fink, exactly. The Fink. He could do it.
He could do it all.
Uh-huh.
And it's unfortunate, you know, he's also gone, but people go, you know? Seriously.
I just have to acknowledge that. Hey, don't set up now.
Jesus, you see what my son is doing? I'm trying to have a serious conversation here. But the Fink was an amazing ring announcer.
I believe he should be on this
I
list.
think he's definitely deserving of that. And it's amazing that not too many people acknowledge him. You know, it's not amazing. It's unfortunate that not too many people acknowledge him.
Right.
It's amazing that they don't. But there's many that do. You know, and I'm one of them.
Me too.
You know, he was amazing. He was a great ring announcer. And
definitely.
If I was a superstar, I definitely would have loved him to introduce me. But
I would have enjoyed that.
When you talk about superstars, this next pick, number 36. I know it's going to be controversial.
But we're not talking about his outside life.
Anything.
We're not talking about his outside life.
Chris Benoit. Former champion in all aspects. Yes, Bruno is here too. Luthez, also an amazing superstar as well. Luthez was one of the first WWE champions, and I definitely would acknowledge him in here. But number 36, Chris Benoit. We're not getting into anything personal with his life.
Definitely not.
Wrestling. The man was a mat technician in the ring.
Oh my God.
The man was lethal. They called him the Rapid Wolverine for a reason in professional wrestling. When you see this man fight in the ring, he fought the likes of Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Eddie Guerrero, The Rock. The list goes on and on.
Many great.
Jushin Thunder Liger. Like,
I agree, he deserved his champion reign. You know, he was one of my favorites.
He fought.
Seen him wrestling.
He fought like hell. He can work. Yes, the man can work. You know what I mean? So
yeah, he was a really good mat technician.
he was a really good mat technician. He had a great snap suplex.
That
was amazing.
Ooh,
Like,
that snap suplex.
like, oh my
pretty.
God! Like, how could you not like this talent? You know, yes, it was unfortunate what happened, but that's
his outside life.
we don't condone it. We absolutely do not condone it. But in the
we
ring,
acknowledge him in the ring.
but in
That's
the
what
ring,
he was
fantastic.
all the time.
You know,
he always gave it his all in the ring. Every time he was in the ring, I've always expected big things.
He was almost perfect.
He was.
But we all know who is number 35 on this list. There was only one perfect person. Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect.
The most perfect man in wrestling. They don't call him that for nothing, because he was perfect in every single way.
Every single way. And it was amazing to see that. To see his mat technician. Like, yes, woman was also a great manager. She was a great manager in professional wrestling. And cue the Mr. Cue the Mr. Perfect theme. It was crazy, man.
Hey, you gotta give him a perfect entrance. You gotta give him the perfect entrance.
No, he was extraordinary in the ring. It's a shame that he didn't win the WWF title.
I honestly feel like he was one of those wrestlers that didn't really need a title to have a big.
Well, he won the
impact.
Intercontinental title.
I mean, like the WWE title. I feel like he didn't really need it to make as big of an impact. It probably would have boosted his impact, but you get what I mean.
I don't know.
Oh, there it goes.
Mr. Perfect. He deserves that theme song.
Spit my gum out like him to this day.
I remember that. He does a trick that he chews a gum, he spits it out, and you smack it with your hand. I do that? Yeah, I do that too. Perfect is number one GOAT, my opinion. Oh yeah, many people believe that he is one of the greatest. He's the GOAT, greatest of all time. You know, and like you said, not many people need a title to show that they are the greatest.
Definitely,
you know what I mean. And
he was one of those guys. Definitely, he was.
No, he was that. He won the Intercontinental title. He won the United States title. I'm not sure if he did win a world title.
Now, from what we know, that he didn't. But if he did, where do you think his career would have gone if he would have won a world title?
Oh, man. If he would have won a world title, he would have been a perfect heel as World Heavyweight Champion.
I agree.
Definitely a great heel.
I feel like he would have had a long title reign, too.
Of course.
They would have gave him a long title reign.
At that time, Hulk Hogan was the golden goose.
He was
he was untouchable.
He was right, exactly.
He was untouchable. He didn't want to lose the title. You know, yes, he was the AWA world champion. He held that title strong. He was good. He had a great battle with Jerry Lawler, you know, which I enjoyed. That rivalry was amazing.
I forgot Jerry Lawler was a wrestler until he became a
He was also a great wrestler.
He was. Jerry Lawler was a great wrestler.
But
I just know him for his commentary. I just knew him for his commentary.
Well, he was a good wrestler. He was a good commentator. Still is to this day. So it's like, what can we do? What can we do when you got commentators like that? You just love them.
Right.
You love them and you hear them.
Makes it better.
So the next pick is also kind of ironic that not too many people would mention it. This gentleman was tall.
Can I just say one more time? These are really good.
Brian said Roman is the modern day Hogan. Sorry, they don't mean to get off topic. Laughing out loud.
I mean,
and then Manny says CM Punk SummerSlam. He thinks CM Punk is going to be at SummerSlam. He's predicting it. We don't know. Supposedly CM Punk was supposed to debut tonight at AEW. A lot of speculation. We don't know what's going on.
If
we just gotta be surprised wherever he goes.
WWE.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah,
it's over. Especially with the crowd will go crazy with CM Punk.
I mean, look how they reacted with John Cena. Imagine CM Punk. Cameras are gonna shake, man.
Let's continue.
Let's go.
This gentleman was a big guy, tall guy.
Oh yeah.
Not liked by many, respected by a few, but he was an excellent star. Big John Studd. Big John Studd was known as, he says, the true giant. And it's known to this day that Andre the Giant and Big John Studd never liked each other.
Really?
Yes, because Big John Studd went over the top rope. That was Andre's thing. If you did that, Andre didn't have any respect for you. And it would just be an all-out brawl. Like, you could see the hatred between the two men, that Andre said, no, I'm the boss here. You know?
Wow.
Like, come on.
Yeah, so those guys actually had some beef with each other.
They had some beef with each other. And that's what, but he was good in the ring. He was good in the ring. He made a name for himself. But the rivalry was always there between him and Andre.
Always there, yeah. So have these guys ever fought each other?
Who?
Andre and Studd.
Yeah. That's where the animosity was. They fought in the ring.
So that just made the rivalry better then.
Yes.
Because they had it outside.
Like, it came to a point in the documentary, he told Vince McMahon he was running away because he thought Andre John was going to kill him.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh God.
He thought he was going to kill him. He said, I'm taking myself and going. He's crazy.
Oh, good. I mean, hey, look how tall.
Like, Andre,
look how tall.
No, but Andre the Giant was the boss at that time.
Andre the Giant is huge. This man's hand could fit around my whole face.
I think your whole head.
Literally, he could grab me with his hand. He could pick me up with one hand by my face.
No,
I mean, Andre
crazy.
the Giant was tall too, but Big John Studd.
See, Manny asks, would John Studd be big time in this era? I don't think they will be. I don't think the era of this generation will be able to handle Big John Studd. You know, like, some people are too soft these days. You know, some people could take the hits. Some people could take the bumps in professional wrestling now. But it's like I said. I
honestly feel like if you were wrestling 2011 and lower, you're a veteran.
Yes.
That's what I consider veterans. If you were wrestling 2011 and lower, you're a veteran. Of course, you know, people like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Jon Moxley, people like that. I respect them because they were my favorite faction, my favorite team. But like I said, people like that, like John Studd, you know, Andre, they was wrestling in, you know,
it was a different era. Stuff. It's exactly. A different era.
Whole different era.
You know, it's a different era. I believe John Studd would be big in this era. You know, as good as the Big Show was, or Great Khali, or
it just wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be the same, but he would still be able to manage.
Andre's palm was the size of your computer screen. Oh my God!
Yeah, he was huge. The man was 7'4".
Oh God, his whole hand going across that.
Yes, the man was 7'4".
Yeah, he could rip my head off.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh my God,
absolutely.
He got some huge hands.
But that's what happened with him and Big John Studd. Him and Big John Studd really didn't like each other, but it was
at
interesting.
The
end, it was interesting,
right?
You know, and when you talk about interesting, this next gentleman at number 33 he was one that Manny says ain't in Vegas, so if I see him, I let y'all know. We're not in Vegas. They're in Vegas. See if they see CM Punk. Number 33 on the list. This man invented the snap suplex and was part of one of the greatest tag teams of all time, the British Bulldogs. Dynamite Kid. Dynamite Kid was very athletic in the ring. The man was strong as hell, and he was fast. He moved across that ring like Flash. Like oh my God, like it was like a speeding bullet. going across.
Dang, he must have been real fast.
No, I'm telling you, he was fast.
Then I consider him the fastest guy in wrestling.
And he was strong, and he would really, but he had a lot of issues backstage. You know, in professional wrestling with tag teams like the Rougeau brothers. But he took it to the ring against the Hart Foundation and other tag teams. And they won the tag team titles at WrestleMania 2. You know, they didn't really stay with the titles too long. But Dynamite Kid, unfortunately, hurt himself with his back and it ended his career.
Oh, man.
But to me, he was one of the great single superstars. You know, he knew how to move in the ring. He knew what he needed to do. And I respect what he did in the business.
There couldn't be another perfect tag team outside of the Road Warriors.
Outside of the Road Warriors.
These guys were it.
They were it. The British Bulldogs. Yes, they were amazing. They were an amazing tag team. You know, and I wish we could have seen more of them with that situation. You know what I mean? But when we talk about certain situations, this next pick, number 32 and 31, we're going to talk about. Unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago, a great Hall of Famer, a great wrestler died.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. The man did so much in the business. I grew up watching this man in professional wrestling.
He was
part of WWE.
Okay.
He was part of WCW.
Yeah.
And he had many great battles, especially the rivalry always with Hulk Hogan. Him and Hulk Hogan again legitimately hated each other.
So this was real beef.
This was real beef. Orndorff could not stand Hulk Hogan at the time. Why? Because Hulk Hogan was the glory fund.
The golden child. Yeah.
Paul Orndorff was amazing. Like, that rivalry was so good that I loved. Yes, he was a legitimate tough guy. Yes, even Brian said, I truly watched a good old Orndorff match, especially with Hogan. Listen, by far, the steel cage match with Paul Orndorff and Hulk Hogan was the best one.
I think I've seen that match.
Like, I put that as one of the watch party.
I've seen that.
That match was amazing. I could still watch that match to this day and enjoy it. You know what I mean?
It was a good match.
Paul Orndorff did great, man. He was a TV champion. He was tag team champion. He did it all. You know, he did it all in the ring. And it was unfortunate he didn't win the world title. I would have loved to see him with Bobby Heenan as a champion. So do you
think he's one of those wrestlers that needed a world title or not?
I don't think he did. Because if his heel character said it all.
Okay.
It did everything.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was a shame to see him go. You know, he did a lot for the business, and he will always be remembered in professional wrestling. Just as this next gentleman, number 31, who just died recently, a couple of days ago, beautiful Bobby Eaton.
Yeah.
He had, if not one of the best leg drops ever in the business. But he'd do that Alabama jam, that Alabama slam leg drop off the top rope. All bets were off. Like, I mean, it was amazing. And the tag team he was in, I believe it was the Midnight Express. Also a great tag team. Great tag team. And he joined the likes of the Deadly Alliance in WCW with Paulie Dangerously, Arn Anderson, Stone Cold, Rick Rude. It was amazing. Amazing the way this man wrestled in the ring. And unfortunately, there was some certain issues he had, and he passed away. But he was amazing. And I loved his wrestling persona. You know, the Midnight Six. Yep, one of the. I agree. The Midnight Express, top five tag teams. Yes. But Jaden.
Dad.
Number 30 is also one of the best big men.
Oh yeah.
That I've ever seen.
Definitely.
Bam Bigelow.
Bam Bigelow.
The man was amazing. He was amazing in the ring. He was able to move. Also, a giant that was able to do a moonsault off the top of the ring.
I can't believe that giants like him could actually do that.
I couldn't see it either, but I did see it. You know, so
right.
When you see a guy like that, Jada, what do you think?
It's a scary sighting right there. Imagine you laying on the mat and you see a tall, big guy. Yeah, these are really good. Yeah. But you see a tall, big guy about to moonsault onto you.
It's gonna hurt.
Say your prayers. Pray that you make it another day. Pray, because that's scary right there.
It's gonna hurt.
That'll make me scared, and that'll hurt too. Definitely, that'll hurt. But that's crazy. He did.
He and the crazy thing is that
there's no limit to doing that. No matter how big you are, there's no limits to that.
Oh yeah, the rivalry with you want to talk about is right, like Brian said. You want to talk about tough. Bam Bam was no joke, especially his rivalry with Taz. He had a rivalry with Taz in ECW that it was absolutely amazing. It was awesome, and his whole head was full of tattoo of fire, ball.
Like fire?
Fire, like flames.
Oh, Bam Bam Bigelow did have tattoos like that.
He said he had a flame tattooed on his head for crying out loud.
Your boy had flame tattoos on his head for crying out loud.
He was fearful. He was fearful, and I also like the rivalry he had with Goldberg in WCW. You know what I mean? They made him a top guy. You know what I mean? But he also was a tag team champion with Vader. Those two were a team, and they were destructive, like whipping ass everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a real game changer,
right?
With those two, you know. And I wish he could have done more too. I wish he could have won a title. But it's okay. Like we say, in certain aspects, not everybody needs a title.
Right.
Like this particular gentleman who is number 29. The Big Boss Man. The Big Boss Man was able to move he was a big guy too, but he was able to move like a lightweight sometimes.
Oh yeah.
He was called Boss with Vince McMahon because he was Vince McMahon's bodyguard. He won the Hardcore title many times. He was part of the Twin Towers with Hakeem. He did a lot in the ring. He's also a Hall of Famer. You know,
I feel like he deserves that though.
Yes,
too. He deserves to be a Hall of Famer. He did pretty
well in professional wrestling.
Definitely.
You know, and when you talk about the Big Boss Man, it's like you hear him and it's like, okay, what next? What's gonna happen? And the rivalry with him and Hulk Hogan back then was awesome. And I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And then that's what planted the seed with the Macho Man and Hulk Hogan as well, due to what happened with the Big Boss Man and Hakeem. So,
true.
Yes, him against the Mountie. I love that match. That match was so funny. I still watch that movie at SummerSlam. It was a jailhouse match that the loser has to go to jail for 24 hours. Oh. And the Big Boss Man won and beat the Mountie. It was funny. It was so funny.
We'll watch that after the show.
Yes, but now let's go up to number 28 on the pick. This gentleman was one of the best, also by far, greatest African American superstars in this generation. Never won a title in WWE, but the man was a fan favorite. I'm talking about the Junkyard Dog.
Oh yeah, the
JYD. The man was phenomenal in the ring. He was a fan favorite. I think he would have been, he would have been bigger than Hulk Hogan.
Really?
Yeah. The man was a fan favorite. He was known all over professional wrestling. WCW, WWE, Japan, ECW.
All
everywhere. AEW.
All of it.
Because he was known.
I mean, hey, he was that dog. He was the Junkyard Dog.
And he had that chain around his neck. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna beat your ass. But he was also a very spiritual man. He was a very spiritual man, and it's like, okay.
What do you mean, like God?
Yes, spiritual? He was a God-loving man, and yes, JYD was a true fan favorite. That he was never hated. He was never hated guy.
So even if he was like a heel,
he was never heel. He was the only person that never turned heel.
He probably didn't need. He didn't need to.
Yep,
look how good of a wrestler he was.
He was a true superstar in the ring. You know, and it was a shame to see him go the way he did, but he was amazing.
Definitely.
And also a person that was amazing, which to me, at number 27, which is by far the greatest manager of all time, Bobby the Brain Heenan. You couldn't get any better than that.
True.
He was an awesome manager and also wrestled. But he really, really knew how to manage. Like, he took superstars to new heights I've never seen. He managed Mr. Perfect. He managed Andre the Giant. He managed King Kong Bundy, Rick Rude. The list goes on with these guys. And I don't think there would have ever been another manager like him.
No, definitely not.
Absolutely
he was
not.
Truly a great manager.
He was a great manager in all aspects. And to me, I think that if it comes to that, you see Bobby Heenan knowing the fact how he was. But when you talk about a manager, he managed number 26, Harley Race. Harley Race was King Race. He was an excellent superstar. He was an excellent manager because he managed Vader. He managed Vader. He took Vader to the title, and it was just simply amazing. Jaden, that means our time is up. Number 26. Next week, we will announce the next 25. But we are going to do a quick prediction for tomorrow's SummerSlam. We are starting with Finn Balor and Baron Corbin. What do you got?
I got my money on Finn.
Surprisingly, I'm going to give it to Baron.
Really?
With his streak going on, I think he's bound to win.
Okay.
Then you have Alexa Bliss against Eva Marie.
I'm gonna go with Alexa Bliss.
Okay, I'm gonna agree with you with that, Alexa Bliss as well.
Okay.
AJ Styles and Omos against Randy Orton and Matt Riddle, tag team titles on the line.
I don't know. Who you got, Dad?
I'm gonna go for AJ and Omos
I'm gonna go with Randy and Riddle.
because I think Randy's gonna turn on RKO.
He's gonna turn on RKO.
He's gonna turn on
Matt Riddle.
Matt Riddle.
Okay.
Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal.
I got Drew.
I got Drew as well.
Go with Drew.
United States Championship match: Sheamus versus Damian Priest.
Sheamus.
I'm saying Damian Priest.
Okay.
It's time for Damian Priest to rise.
Okay.
The Usos versus the Mysterios.
I'm gonna go with the Usos.
Yeah, me too.
Usos is my guys right there.
Classic dream match: Edge versus Seth Rollins.
I gotta go with my guy Seth.
I'm gonna go with Edge.
Okay.
Women's Championship match. As of now, because we don't know if it has been pulled yet. Bianca Belair against Sasha Banks.
I'm going with Bianca. Bianca Belair.
I'm gonna go with Sasha Banks.
Okay.
WWE Championship match: Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg.
This was silly, but I'm gonna go with Bobby.
Bobby all the way. Nikki Ash, Charlotte Flair, and Rhea Ripley. Women's Raw title.
I'm gonna go with Charlotte.
I'm gonna stick with Nikki Ash.
Okay.
And Roman Reigns against John Cena. Universal title.
Roman Reigns. I gotta give it to Roman Reigns.
Okay. I picked Roman Reigns as well. Well, wrestling fans, thank you for joining us. Next week is our part 2 of the 50 greatest late superstars of all time. And we got our number 25, which is an amazing list that we're going to enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Also, as I mentioned, I was going to make a small announcement. Coming up within the next few weeks, due to the great idea of my producer and director, my lovely wife, Yesenia, we are coming up with 2 great shows. One is going to be the Evolution Slammy Awards, meaning we're going to put a poll in the next coming weeks to decide who is the greatest superstar of the year, the greatest tag team, everything. We're going to put a whole bunch of polls on there. Then, after that, within the following weeks after that, we will have a show called Evolution Knowledge Bowl. it's going to be like a Jeopardy side, but we're using the wheel of evolution to decide the categories. We ask questions, you give us the answers. Or we give you the answers, and you give us the questions. That is how it's going to go. You think they're ready for it, Jay?
I don't know.
We shall see.
That's only one way
But we got a
find
good
out.
way to plan it, and it'll be coming soon. Thank you, wrestling fans, for joining us. Please feel free to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Also, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Evolution of Pro Wrestling. Thank you, wrestling fans, for joining us. Tune in tomorrow night to SummerSlam. You're not going to want to miss it. We're not going to miss it. For myself, Louis, the Encyclopedia of Pro Wrestling.
And Jay, the Whiz Kid of Pro Wrestling.
Thank you, wrestling fans, for joining us. We'll see you next week, 8:30 sharp, as always. Have a good night.